Hello, everybody. Welcome to the bite-sized webinar on immigration law. It's an update for 2026. We're recording this on the 9th of February 2026, so everything is up to date to this point. Of course, since we're dealing with immigration law, everything's subject to change. But very, very welcome. My name is Sandra Akinbalu. I'm a barrister at the 36 Group. And I have been a barrister for well over 20 years now, always practicing in this area, and I hope this is of interest to you. So today's plan is to go through broadly the autumn statements of change. There were in fact several statements of change last year, but we'll look at those that took place in the autumn. Then we'll look at some of two of the key policy papers that were released at the end of last year. A very brief case law update, and then a couple of points both on the ETA and a warning in respect of AI. So let me dive straight in. The autumn statement of changes, as I said, there were 7 statements of change last year. Which reflects the ongoing focus, some would say obsession, others might say, on immigration as a political tool, and it reflects the number of changes that did happen, and some of them quite significant. We're going to focus on the last 2 changes, so those changes that took place in October and December of last year. And of course, my principal focus is the key changes. So looking at the first of those statements of change, part suitability was introduced, which effectively brings the suitability criteria in many of the bespoke routes and what was part 9, the general grounds for refusal, into one appendix of part suitability, which helps to harmonise some of the terminology across multiple routes and to do away with some of the bespoke and very niche approaches that were being taken in different routes. It should make it easier to locate and to understand reasons for refusal and or cancellation in various applications. Do note that there are some significant impacts. So, for example, this will now apply, that part suitability will now apply to family and private life routes, and that means that criminality provisions are harmonised across this. So family cases will now be refused where there's been a 12-month sentence, whether in the UK or abroad, unless to refuse it would be a breach of Article 8. And family cases will also be refused where there's been a deception used. And again, this is mandatory in the current cases and discretionary if used historically. And again, now we bring back in anyone who's been practicing in this area for a long time will be familiar with the concept of the re-entry bans being applied to family cases in the past. We see them now being the re-entry bans are now applicable in family cases.